Hi. You ever notice how trust doesn't break like glass? It stretches first, thins out, frays like an old rope, before it finally snaps. That's how it started for me. A slow, almost imperceptible unraveling. One small inconsistency at a time. We were 5 years married. Jenna and I, college sweethearts. Met in line at the campus coffee shop during finals week, both of us half asleep and wired on cheap espresso. She wore this oversized hoodie with holes in the sleeves, and still somehow looked like she stepped out of a magazine. Her laugh caught me first, light but unguarded. We were inseparable within a month. And for years, it worked. Or maybe it looked like it worked. We moved into a modest two-story just outside of Denver. I worked in logistics, managing warehouse systems for a major outdoor gear company. She taught art at the local high school. We had the routine down: Saturday morning market runs, lazy Sunday brunches, movie marathons, and sweats. But you know how some things feel a little too smooth? That was us. Polished on the outside, but underneath, the foundation was shifting. The first real moment came on a Tuesday. I remember because I was sick that day, some kind of flu that turned me into a blanket-covered lump on the couch. Jenna came home from work, paused when she saw me still there. Her expression, it faltered. Not concern, not surprise, just something else. Like irritation wrapped in guilt. "You okay?" she asked, tossing her bag a little too quickly onto the chair. "Didn't make it in," I said, hoarse. "Felt like trash all day." She nodded. "Should have called me. I'd have picked up soup." She didn't offer to get any now, though. Just walked into the kitchen, her phone already in hand. She typed fast. Too fast. Then the phone buzzed. And buzzed again. She never looked at me when it did. I told myself I was being paranoid. I'd been out of it, feverish, maybe reading too much into it. I trusted her. She was my wife. But something about that night lingered. Like a bad taste. Weeks went by. Jenna started working late more often. Staff meetings, she said. Grading marathons. Sometimes she'd come home freshly showered. Said she stopped at the gym to clear her head. I believed her. I wanted to. Love makes you ignore what logic whispers. Until logic stopped whispering. A month later, I came home early. Truck needed service, so I left work midday. Pulled into the driveway around 2. The house was quiet, locked. Her car wasn't there. I stepped inside anyway. Habit, I guess. And something on the kitchen counter caught my eye. 2 wine glasses. One still had a lipstick stain on the rim. Jenna never drank red during the day. That wasn't suspicion talking, it was just fact. And those glasses weren't there that morning when I left. I would have noticed. I always cleaned before leaving. I didn't say anything when she came home later. Just smiled. Asked about her day. She told me she had back-to-back classes. Said she was exhausted. She kissed my cheek. Poured herself some tea. I noticed she didn't ask about my day. That night, I stayed up after she fell asleep. Eyes on the ceiling. Thoughts tumbling like dice. I didn't sleep a minute. The next day, I bought a set of security cameras. I told myself it was for safety. The neighborhood had a recent string of break-ins. And it was true, there'd been a few car windows smashed. But that wasn't why I bought them. I installed one by the front door, another covering the back patio, and a third, almost impulsively, in the corner of the living room, angled just enough to catch the kitchen and the sliding door. She asked once, "Really think we need these?" I shrugged, just being cautious. She let it go, and I watched. For 2 weeks, nothing. Just her coming and going. Occasionally standing by the window, scrolling her phone. Once she danced around the kitchen to old jazz while cooking. For a moment, I hated myself for doubting her. But then came Tuesday, same day of the week as the flu day. I remember that detail. I was at work, watching the live feed during my lunch break. Habit by now. And there she was, home early, wearing a dress I didn't recognize. Hair curled. Full makeup. She never dressed like that for school. She walked into the kitchen, poured herself a drink, then looked toward the front door like she was waiting. At 12:47 p.m., a man entered. Tall, clean-cut, confident. He hugged her like he belonged. Kissed her neck. She laughed. I watched the entire scene unfold in total silence. My office door was shut. My heart wasn't. They talked. Laughed. Sat close on the couch. His hand rested on her thigh like it had 1,000 times before. And she didn't flinch. The stream buffered once, maybe twice. My hands shook the whole time. They left together at 1:32 p.m. Through the front door. Jenna was smiling. I stared at the blank screen for a long time after. A part of me still hoping the footage would rewind, Glitch, prove me wrong. Maybe I'd misread it. Maybe it was a cousin, a friend, a misunderstanding. But no part of it felt like anything other than betrayal. I didn't confront her that night, or the next. I just watched, took notes, waited, like a man sitting in the back row of his own life, watching the final act play out. I kept loving her with the same hands that would soon pack her things. I started calling them Tuesday visits in my notes. Same guy, same dress code, same hour window. Sometimes they'd bring takeout. Once, he brought a bouquet of white tulips, her favorite. She placed them in the vase I bought her for our 3rd anniversary, the one with our initials carved on the base. I think that hurt more than the kisses. It was always around lunchtime. He never stayed more than an hour and a half. Enough time to pretend they were just passing through. That whatever they had didn't require more than a slice of day to feel real. But watching them, it didn't feel fleeting. It felt rehearsed. There was no urgency, no guilt, just familiarity. I kept the camera footage in a hidden folder, backed it up on 2 drives. One stayed in my desk at work. The other, I stored at a buddy's garage under the pretense of storing old tax records. I never looked at the footage twice. I didn't need to. Once was enough to burn it into memory. Jenna was careful. No texts, no lipstick smudges, no strange receipts. Whatever they were doing, they'd perfected the art of erasure. But cameras don't lie, and routines always leave fingerprints. She started dressing differently, even on weekends. Tighter jeans, heels, even to the grocery store. And when I complimented her, just to see her reaction, she smiled but didn't really hear me. Like I was a TV on low volume in the background of her life. That's when I realized she'd already left me. Physically, she was there, pouring coffee, folding laundry, laughing at shows we used to watch together. But emotionally, she'd packed up months ago. She just hadn't told me. Funny thing was, she kept telling me to trust her. That exact phrase. Just trust me, babe, she'd say when I asked why she was working so late. Trust me, it's just stress. When I pointed out she hadn't touched me in 2 weeks. Trust me, when I asked if she was happy. That phrase, once comforting, became a knife disguised as a hug. She said it again one Friday night as we lay in bed, backs to each other, her voice soft in the dark. I know I've been distant. I'm just overwhelmed. You've always been my anchor. Just trust me. I said nothing, just stared at the ceiling. I wanted to ask, do you trust yourself? But I already knew the answer. The next morning, I went into our guest room and started packing boxes, not hers, mine. Just in case. Just enough to be ready. I didn't want a confrontation. I didn't want a fight. I wanted clarity. And she was giving it to me, one Tuesday at a time. Eventually, I stopped checking the footage live. I didn't need to verify anything. I just made sure the files saved. Kept logging dates and times. Every moment she was building a life within a lie, I was preparing my exit with precision. I made quiet changes. Moved half our savings into a personal account. Called an attorney discreetly, one recommended by a friend who'd been through a messy divorce. She was sharp, efficient, and didn't blink when I said I had evidence. You want to catch a liar, she said. You document everything and say nothing. So I did. I started using cash. Closed shared credit lines. Removed my name from her car lease. Bit by bit, I untangled myself from the world we'd woven together. One night, after her Tuesday guest left, she came into the kitchen while I was washing dishes. She leaned against the counter and said, "You've been quiet lately." I shrugged. Just tired. She studied me for a beat too long. We're okay, right? I turned off the water. Dried my hands. Then I looked her in the eyes and said, "I trust you." And for a moment, just a flicker, her smile faltered. That was the only confirmation I ever really needed. I chose a Thursday. It was an ordinary morning, sunlight on the hardwood, coffee brewing, the gentle rhythm of our so-called normal. Jenna had already left for work, humming as she walked out the door like she wasn't erasing something sacred every time she smiled at me. I opened the laptop, pulled up the folder, labeled plainly, Home Security, Week 9. I watched the footage one final time, not because I doubted, just to remember, to see it clearly, without emotion clouding the view. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I just absorbed. Then I stood, walked into our shared closet, pulled out the suitcase she used for her weekend trips, packed it neatly. 3 pairs of jeans, 4 tops, 1 blazer, toiletries, makeup bag, her favorite scarf, the one she always wore on flights. I folded everything the way she liked it. Careful, clean. Then I zipped it shut and placed it by the front door. On top, I left the USB drive. Labeled, "You told me to trust you." I could have written a note. But what was left to say? I didn't wait for her to come home that night. I stayed at a hotel near downtown. Ordered room service. Turned off my phone. Slept for the first time in months without waking up in the middle of the night wondering what I'd done wrong. When I finally turned my phone back on the next morning, there were missed calls. 16. 3 voicemails. The first was calm. "Hey babe, did you leave your laptop open again? Weird. There's a file I don't remember seeing. Call me when you get this." The second was panicked. "I don't know what you think you saw, but it's not what it looks like. We need to talk. Please." The third, broken. "Please. Please don't do this. I made a mistake. Just talk to me. I'm sorry." That one was the hardest to listen to, because for a second, her voice sounded like the woman I married. But I couldn't call her back. Not after everything. I let her sit in the quiet for a day. Then another. Then I sent a single email. I trusted the cameras. They didn't lie to me. That was it. No confrontation. No shouting match in the kitchen. No slamming doors or dramatic exits. Just truth, clean and undeniable. She moved out a week later. Didn't leave a note. Just took what I'd packed and a few other things. I came home to an echo. The quiet kind. The honest kind. I filed for divorce that Monday. Cited infidelity. Attached documentation. The footage, the logs, timestamps, everything. My lawyer called it airtight. "You could hang a painting in court with how clean this is," she said. The process was surprisingly smooth. Jenna didn't contest anything. She didn't show up to court, not once. Just let her attorney shuffle through the motions. I wondered if it was shame, or guilt, or maybe just exhaustion. Funny, I used to think trust was about love, about belief. But now, I think it's about clarity, about choosing not to look away when the truth stares back. People ask if I miss her. I think what they're really asking is, do I miss who she used to be? And the answer is, sometimes. Sometimes I miss the way she used to hold my hand in crowded rooms, like I was her anchor. Sometimes I miss Sunday mornings with her hair still tangled from sleep. I miss the illusion. But I don't miss being lied to. I don't miss living with someone who could kiss me goodnight with someone else's scent still lingering on her skin. And I don't miss the phrase, "trust me," because I've learned what it means when someone says it too often. It usually means they've already betrayed it. I'm not bitter. I'm not angry. I'm not trying to teach her a lesson. I just packed her things and let the footage speak the truth I never had to yell. Bye-bye.